Hi, I'm Gati, and welcome to our story on creating a realistic desert in Unreal Engine 5.4. First, we will see how to procedurally create the desert dune. Then, we will create a sand material and see how we can blend it between sloped and flat area. We will make use of the new feature in 5.4 using nanite and displacement to create 3D wave with our sand material. To break up the repetitiveness of our material, we will go over a few techniques to make it seamless. Then later, we will see how we can simply add footprint and footstep sound to our player character. We will discover how we can add layer and beautifully blend them using displacement. Lastly, we will create a simple material function that is very easy to use to blend all static mesh with our landscape. And if you want to support this tutorial series, you can join my Patreon. However, this video will still be uploaded for free on my YouTube channel. Hi, it's Katy, and welcome to this part 3 of this tutorial series on how to create a realistic desert scene. So before starting, I just want to show something that is really important in my eyes. So back in part 1, I believe, we had two parameters, and it was constant, and we plugged the 0 value into the specular and 1 into the roughness. So I actually did one thing. I changed this to be a parameter. So now both of the texture that we use to create the base layer are using these two parameters. So on each we have these two parameters. So whenever I change one, it's going to affect the other. So it was basically a value of 0 and 1. And I found that these value work way better at 0.75 and 0.1 in specular, and I feel it just feel more natural how it would looks in real life. So I just changed this value, and of course you may not want to change this depending of what you want to achieve on your of the look of your landscape, but I just want to show this before starting the video. So we want to create a footprint now on our player character. So we are going to use the player character foot to create normal, so dynamic normal onto our landscape. So to do so, we are going to go and download this. So this is a project made by RVT, and it's so free to use. So we're just going to download this and clicking here in the green code, and we're going to download this as a zip. Okay, so once we download the Unreal Open main from GitHub, we're gonna open this, and we're gonna go in Epic Game Launcher and locate our project. So this is this one, and I'm gonna just open folder, and in here we are gonna open our content folder, and from there I'm gonna go back in the zip folder. And so the first thing that we want to take is we want to click so in OpenLAN content, and in here we're gonna take the OpenLAN and drop it on our content folder. After that, we are gonna go back and we are gonna take this UE5 or override, open the content folder, and we are gonna take the OpenLAN, drop it there, and we are gonna replace all the folder. And then after that, we can start our project. Okay, so we are back on the project, and so we are gonna take and open this new OpenLAN folder and blueprint deform, and we're gonna take the OpenLAN deform manager and drop it onto the landscape. So as you can see there, we have a few options like follow player character, which need to be true, set to true. And here you have some option like deform fading, which is gonna fade out by time the footprint that's gonna be on the landscape, but we won't talk too much about that for now. And so now we want to create RVT for our landscape. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to go in edit, we need to go in project setting, and in here we want to look for virtual, and we need to enable virtual texture support, not on mobile, but this one over there. So enable virtual texture support. I personally already set this to true, so you will need to just set this to true and restart your project. And so once you're back, we are gonna go in the content folder and in widget, So in OpenLAN widget, we want to look this OpenLAN RVT widget. So this is going to create for us automatically the RVT. So we won't need to scale it to our landscape. It's going to do it automatically. So we are going to right click and just run as editor. And in here, we're going to add RVT support. So we're going to click. And so now, as you can see, we have our 2 RVT. So after this, we need to select those 2 RVT, and we need to go in virtual texture and select the RVT OpenLAN height, and for the material, the RVT OpenLAN material. So now, very important, otherwise you won't see any effect on your landscape. You need to select the landscape, and we are gonna look for dynamic. So use dynamic material instance. This is gonna allow us to create dynamically footprint onto the landscape. All right, so now we need to actually go in the material, so our landscape material, and we are going to create this effect into the material. So first thing, of course, we want to have footprint on the sand, not on the second layer. So I won't affect any of this, which is so the rocky layer. I just want to affect my base layer, which is the sand layer. So to do so, I'm going to take this, make a break node, break material attributes, and here I want the make material attribute. So we're gonna take all of the value that we don't want to change, but actually we are gonna keep that for later, and we want to use the RVT output. So let's look for RVT, and we want to take this RVT, not this one, virtual. So runtime virtual texture output. And so we want to plug the base color into the base color, the specular into the specular, roughness into roughness. And for the normal, we need to do something with the normal. And that's basically how we're going to fake these footprints. So we're not using displacement, we only are using normal. So you will see the result later. But to do so, we are going to use the read OpenLAN deformed data, which is the one that we got from the OpenLAN content drawer, content folder. And now we're going to take the existing normal and plug that into the existing normal. And we're just going to take the normal, so the convert normal, and plug that into the normal of the RVT. And then we want to create the parameter. So to do so, you can hold S and left click, or you can right click there and promote to parameter. And this is, I'm going to call this normal strength footprint. And I'm going to set that to 50 by default, like so. So now that we done this, so we actually sending the information to the runtime virtual texture output. And so now we want to take it back. So I'm going to look for virtual texture sample this time. And so I'm going to take this. I want to make sure that I'm, so in the virtual texture, I want to select the RVT OpenLAN material. And so now we are taking back the information, and so I want to plug everything into the respective channel. I mean, all the channel that we use at least. And so the normal into the normal. And now for the displacements, I haven't placed the displacement onto the RVT. It's on purpose because it's actually not working. So we are going to take the one from our material, and so just plug that into here, like so. And so now we are just going to plug the result into the layer base right there. I'm going to hit apply. And now if I go back to my landscape, as you can see, if I play, I'm drawing a very big footprint with my character basically onto the landscape. So now we have to go in our player character so we can create more realistic footprint. So let's go in. So you can either go in world setting where you have your so game mode, and in here I can just press on browse to assets in content brawler. And so we're going to take this BP third person character, so the one that you are using, and so we are going to open it. And so from there we want to go inside the viewport, and in here we're going to click on the add component, and in here we are going to look for the deform, so OpenLAN deform component, which we are going to rename this by left foot. And I'm gonna drop it onto the mesh, so it's gonna be attached to it, and I want to place it onto the left foot, but I need to unselect this so I can be more precise. So the left foot is over there, so I'm just gonna lower it, take this. I want to make sure that it's on the front of the left foot, like so. And now we are gonna duplicate this. So I'm selecting left foot. I'm gonna Control D, and I'm gonna rename this as right foot. And so I'm gonna take it and place it onto the right foot, like so. Just want to make sure that it's well placed like this. And so now, as you can see, if I select one of these two deform opponent, so the right foot and the left foot, as you can see, we have some motion right there, which is so Mac depth and area size. We want to just go on our landscape. So I'm going to hit compile, and we're going to go on our landscape. And as you can see, I still have those big trail onto my player character. And that's because we need to so disable this follow player character. Because we now have the overland deform on our foot. We don't want to use that, so now we are using those two, so deform, which is right foot and left foot, to create this footprint. So now we have to adjust them. So of course you can do it by yourself. You need to pretty much test it by yourself. So yeah, you basically need to do this because it's gonna depend on your landscape. So if you have more displacement, you will need to adjust that. If you have a different magnitude or a center point into your material, you might need to change that as well. So another thing that we can do is if we go in our material instance, we can look for this parameter that we just did before, which is the normal strength footprint. And as you can see, if I increase that to 500, we will have a lot of normal. So you might want to adjust that as well. And so now I will just try to find a good value for this, and I will be back. Okay, so I set the right and the foot a bit lower, and I add the value on the max depth to be 5.7 roughly, and 6.5 on the left foot, since he's acting differently. And so on the area size, so it's controlling how big the foot is basically. So if you have a bigger value up in here, you will basically fake bigger foot. I try to pretty much find the good point where I have trails and where I have footprint. And in the material instance, so if I'm going there, I'm going to the normal strength footprint that we created together, so the parameter. And so as you can see there, the more I increase, the more fake depth it's gonna create. So it's using normal. So even if I increase this all the way up like this, as you can see there, if I'm getting close, it's completely flat. So it's just using normal to create this depth. And so I recommend, of course, it's up to you, but to lower this to something like 10 to get a nice looking footprint effect onto the landscape. If you're getting this error message, so resizing virtual texture pool, it's we need to go in the edit here, project setting, and we want to scroll down all the way down to virtual texture pool, and in here we want to uncheck this box over there, and it will also increase the FPS, so performance in the project as well. So now we want to add a footprint to our player character. So to do so, we actually want to create some audio. So I just found on YouTube Footstep audio on Ascend. And so I went into Audacity and I just cut all of them to make one footstep for each. And so they have to be .wave for Unreal. So we're just gonna create a new folder. So in here, we want to add footprint, or let's just call that audio. And this one, I'm gonna create a new one. So footstep. And so in here, I'm just gonna take all of the footstep and I'm gonna drop it onto the folder. And now I want to right click on my content folder, go in audio, and I want to click on sound cue. And I want to rename this sound footstep, like this. Now I will open it and I will take just all of the sound wave and drop it there. Now with this, I want to look for the random note, which can be found here. And I want to add as much input, so by clicking here, as I have a wave player here. So I have 9 of them. So we'll create 9 of them. and now I'm gonna plug the result into the output. So whenever I play the sound cue now, I will just randomly select one of them. And we want to take this modulator, so just take it there, drop it right there, and we're gonna plug the output of this into here and the output to the final output of the cue. And so here we want to change some of the values, so it's basically gonna take so randomly one of them, and after taking one of them, we're just gonna randomize the pitch mean. And so, I mean, we are gonna randomize the pitch of the audio and the volume. So it's just gonna help us to create more randomness to our footstep. So I'm just gonna add some value, not too much, because I don't want these to be too crazy. So it's gonna be 0.9 and 1.1 for these, and for these, I want these to be 0.85 to 120. And let's see the result. It sounds pretty good. So now that we have the sound cue, we can actually go and jump inside our player character. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do, we want to go in edit, in project setting, and in here I want to look for surface, and in here in surface type 1 I want to set that to be sand, and this one to be a rock. So it is in the case that you want different footstep sound depending on what surface are you on. So here I'm gonna close this. Okay, so once we've done this, so creating the surface, we want to do a couple things. The first thing here, we're gonna go in the mesh, and I want to locate the anim class. So I'm selecting the mesh, and in here in anim class, I want to click on this icon. And so we are using this animation blueprint in this case. So I'm gonna open it, and I want to go back at my content drawer, and I want to look in Queen, and I want to select the animation, and I want to put my footstep sound in. So in this case, since we're using this animation, which is the running animation, I'm just gonna open this animation, which is the run forward animation. Okay, and so now we want to go in the third person character, and so in here, in function, I want to add a new function, and this one's gonna be footstep. Now, we want to go back into the animation blueprint, and but first we want to go in here, so in the actual running animation. And so in here we want to create a new notify track. So in this case this animation has already notified the footstep, so whenever our foot touch the ground, there is already a notify. But in the case that you need to create one, we are gonna do it together. So in this case here, whenever my foot touch the ground, I'm gonna right click on the track 2, and I want to add notify and click on new notify, and I want to notify this one, rename this one to be footstep. And now I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna Control C, place my marker, place my mouse, and just Control V, and do it again. Make sure that it's placed on the right position, like so. And we're good. So now we need to go in the animation blueprint, and we want to look for event notify, or let's just look for footstep, and we only select this event anim notify footstep. And so from there we want to cast this to our third person character. So we want to take this cast to, or let's just look for third person, and so we're going to select cast to BP third person character, and from there we are going to get the try get pawn owner, and I'm gonna plug this into the object. And now so now that we have the information from the third person character, we can now drag this and look for the footstep function that we create together. And so I'm gonna plug the result there. Now we want to hit apply and save. Okay, now that we create all of these, we want to create the function. So but before doing this, we actually want to create the material surface. So I'm gonna go in desert tutorial folder, and in here I'm gonna right click, look for material, and no, physic, and we want to look for physic material, and so select this one. I'm gonna select this and rename this PM underscore send in this case. And so remember, in edit project setting surface, we create two types, which is the first one, sand. So keep in mind that we need to keep exactly the same name, and rock. So I'm gonna keep this page open. And so in here, my content drawer, I create one, I'm gonna duplicate this one, and this one's gonna be PM rock. Okay, and so now I'm gonna open this, and the only thing that I wanna do in surface type is change. So in this case, I'm in PM sand. I wanna select this one to be sand. I'm gonna hit save, and we can close this. And so we're gonna do the same for the rock. So in here, we are in rock, so I'm gonna select rock, hit save, and we can leave. Okay, so from there, so we are in the function inside the third person character. I wanna get a line trace by channel, like this. Now I wanna get actor location, and I wanna plug that into the start result. Okay, and now I wanna look for a subtract. So I'm gonna look for minus subtract not right there. And now I want to take this result, plug that here, and in here I actually want to enter the value 100. And so I'm gonna plug the result into and. Now we are gonna create the branch. I want to plug the return value into the condition, and here, if true, we want to select the switch on E physics surface, like so. And so here on our it, we want to get surface type, and from there I want to plug that into the result. And so now in here, as you can see, we have the first surface that we created, so the sand, and the other, which is the rock. And so from there, we just basically want to play sound at location. And so for the case of the sand, we already created a footstep audio, which is the sand footstep. And so I'm going to plug that here. And so whenever now my character is on top of a sand physical surface, it will play the sound at location. Okay, yeah, one thing that we need to do is now we're gonna go in here, and we're gonna look for these folders. In the case that you cannot find it, you need to go in landscape here. And so that's the 2-layer data that we created by clicking here. So we're gonna look for this, so this folder basically, and I'm gonna click in the base layer info, and in here I want to select the send. So I actually have 2 of them, so I just want to make sure that I'm selecting the good one. And so in here I'm gonna plug that here, and in the other one, which is the rock layer, I want to select the rock, and now we should be good. So I'm gonna press play, and as you can see now I did create the footstep audio. So of course, if you find this too loud, we can go in here, look for the audio folder, and we are gonna open the sound queue, and in here you're gonna select this, and we want to make sure that the volume multiplier is low. I mean, so let's go for maybe 0.2, I believe. And yeah, I think it sounds better right now. Okay, so now let's work on RVT blend with static mesh. Okay, so let's first download a stone or whatever static mesh that you want to use, so we can actually see what we're doing. So let's just take any rock that we found on Quixel library. So I'm gonna take a small one, maybe already download one. So I'm just gonna add it to my project, and now I'm just gonna place it on my landscape. Okay. And so now we are gonna create a material function that we can basically we can go in the material. So this is a material instance. So we're gonna go in the master material actually, and by just placing this between this and the outputs, we can basically turn in off or on in the material instance if we want to use RVT blend in this static mesh. So let's create this material function. So in my folder desert2, I'm gonna create a new folder and call that mf or material function. I'm gonna go inside, and in here in material, I wanna take the material function and call this mf underscore rvt blend. Now we are gonna open it. Okay, so first let's create and take a runtime virtual sample. Okay, here we have to select the RVT blend material that we created before. And here I want to set material attribute. And so we're gonna just create. So we need the base color, we need the specular, the roughness, and the normal. Okay, and so in here, I'm just gonna plug the result. So base color into the base color, specular into specular, and roughness into roughness. Okay, and so in here, the normal, you might want to use it, but it's sometime in static mesh, it's just gonna look ugly. So I won't recommend to use it, but in case you want to use it, let's just add a transform vector, and we want to keep that as tangent space to warp space, and we can just plug the result into the normal. And but since I don't want to use it, I'm just gonna delete it and keep it like this. So now we want to take the RVT height, so I'm gonna go look for runtime virtual sample again, but I want to select the height map, so the RVT height, and I'm just gonna take the war height and make a reroute node. So this one's gonna be the cache RVT height. And so I'm gonna create a reroute node for this as well. So this is gonna be the cache, or let's just call it RVT Fluidscape material. So now let's take the absolute world position. So let's look for world position, and here I'm gonna only take the z value, and I want to subtract. And so I want to take the RVT height. I want to add this to a parameter, which is going to be the RVT mask start height. And so plug that here, and now I want to subtract, so the z to this. So basically what we were making, we're using the info on the RVT height, and with this parameter we can control from where we want these to, from what height we want these to affect our static mesh. So here I'm gonna divide and create another parameter, and this one's gonna be the RVT mask fall off. And I want to set its default value to be 100. Now I want to saturate this. I want to 1 minus. And I want to make another reroute node, and so this one's going to be the RVT mask. Okay, so now let's bring an input function. And so this one, it has to be a material attribute. So let's look for function input material attribute. And so this one is going to be the base or material attributes, like so. And now I want to make another reroute node, or let's bring a blend material attribute, like so. And so now I want to look for my RVT landscape material and my RVT mask. And so I want to plug so this into the B socket, my mask into the alpha, and so the material attribute into the A socket. So we're going to blend this, so our material attribute of the static mesh with the material attribute of our landscape, and using the mask that we are creating here, we are going to say where we want this to appear on our static mesh. And so here I'm just going to create another static mesh, and so this one's going to be use RVT blend, like so. And in here I want to plug this into false, and so I'm going to plug that into the output, hit save, and we're good to go. So now if I go in my landscape, I want to locate this material. So let's go look for the master material, not the material instance. And so in here, I'm gonna look for the material function that we just made. I'm gonna put that right there. I'm gonna take this and plug the result in here. Now I'm gonna hit apply. Okay, so let's use RVT blend. So right there, I use RVT. I'm gonna set it to true, and in here we have our option. So here I'm gonna set the fall off to 0 so we can see sharp edge, and I'm gonna try to find the good height where we are on the map. And so as you can see now, we are getting the base color information, and so the material attribute of our landscape, and we are using this to blend between the static mesh and our landscape. So basically, if I just increase the height of this is just gonna increase where we start to fade out. Of course, we have no fall off, so it's very sharp at the edge, but we can increase that like this and decrease like this. And so might want to increase that a bit more again. Okay, like so. So as you can see, so it may vary very much on your static mesh. I don't think it is the perfect mesh to blend this, but so this could be applied on any static mesh. Just go in the material of your asset and just drop this RVT blend material function between the output and the information before, and you will have the same parameter to control your static mesh blending with your landscape. All right. So if you have watched all the part of this tutorial series, thank you a lot for that. That's mean a lot for me. And if you have any suggestion on what tutorial should I do or any question about this tutorial, just write it in the comment section. And thanks for watching me again. And of course, if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like because I will upload a lot on my YouTube channel. So to stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.